Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Fawad Ali, Assistant Professor at Department of Pharmacy, Quad University of Science and Technology. Dear student, welcome to the course of Pharmacology and Therapeutic. In today's lecture, we will discuss about an antibiotic group which is anti macrolide antibiotic. So in last lecture, we discussed the macrolide antibiotic specifically about erythromycin. In today's lecture, we will discuss about other member of the macrolide antibiotic, like uh, like about erythromycin and azithromycin. Okay. Outlines. In today's lecture, we will discuss the following content one by one, like erythromycin, its chemistry and antibacterial spectrum, its pharmacokinetic properties, its therapeutic uses, advantages of erythromycin or erythromycin, and the second macrolide is azithromycin chemistry, its antibacterial spectrum, pharmacokinetic properties, its therapeutic uses, advantage of the azithromycin over erythromycin and erythromycin, and its disadvantages. Okay. After watching and listening, after watching and listening, the student will know about the know about the erythromycin and azithromycin mode of action, clinical uses based on spectrum and unwanted effects. Okay, so we start from the erythromycin chemistry. So chemistry in erythromycin is basically 6-methyl ether of the erythromycin, derived from erythromycin by adding a methyl group, like we discussed in last lecture. Like in the most important substituents on the macrolide nucleus is the R1 and R1 and R2 position. And in erythromycin at R1 there is methyl group and R2 simple hydrogen atom. But in the erythromycin on both R1 and R2 substituents there is a methyl group. So this is the word derived from erythromycin by adding a methyl group, specifically R2 at R2 position, has improved acid stability and better oral absorption than the than erythromycin. Absorption is increased with food as compared to if compare erythromycin, absorption of the erythromycin is increased with food. The spectrum, antibacterial spectrum of the erythromycin, similar to the spectrum of the erythromycin is similar to the erythromycin, except it is more active against the Mycobacterium avium complex, also against the Mycobacterium leprae and Toxoplasmosis gondii. They are most active against these specific species. Okay, pharmacokinetic properties of the erythromycin. Starting from the absorption, it has the better absorption from the GIT. Bioavailability reduces to 550 to 55% due to its first pass metabolism. It has first pass metabolism. So the standard formulation may be given with or without food. Should be given with food, which improves the bioavailability. So distribution. It undergoes a rapid first pass metabolism, like we have discussed in the absorption part, undergoes the first pass metabolism, but it produces its inactive metabolite, which is 14 hydroxy erythromycin. Both of them are distributed widely throughout the body, achieve the higher intracellular concentration, means both erythromycin and its active metabolite, which is produced as the result of the first pass metabolism, that is 14 hydroxy erythromycin. Both are active, both are distributed throughout the body, both have high intracellular concentration. Tissue concentration usually exceed the serum concentration. Okay. Then clearance eliminated by both by the renal and the non-renal mechanism. metabolize in the liver in several metabolites. The active 4-hydroxy being most significant. This is the most significant because it is an play important role in the have the antibacterial spectrum. Large amount is excreted in urine and in changed and unchanged form. Still, the dose need not to be altered in a severe renal dysfunction. Okay, they are mostly excreted in the urine or in changed and unchanged form. Still, the dose need not to be adjusted, specifically in the renal dysfunction patient. Okay, therapeutic uses of them. It is used in the Helicobacter pylori infection, specifically in the peptic ulcer, in the H. pylori eradication, triple and quadruple therapy. Atypical mycobacterial infection, first line drug used specifically in atypical mycobacterium, like we have discussed in the antibacterial spectrum, like they have the activity against the mycobacterium, avium, and lepri. Tetanus, syphilis, sexual transmitted, Campylobacter infections, Legionella infection, Mycoplasma infection. Prophylactic uses like erythromycin, streptococcal infection like pharyngitis. So, advantages of the erythromycin or azithromycin: they have improved acid stability and oral absorption. Like erythromycin have poor acid stability and poor absorption from the GAT. The absorption of the erythromycin oral absorption is improved or better than erythromycin, and also have improved acid stability, longer half-life like 6 hour, lower incidence of GAT intolerance, like specifically in erythromycin there is some problem, like they have a specific receptor for the motility, specific receptors in the GAT for erythromycin, that are the motility receptor, which by erythromycin, by binding with these motility receptor, increase their motility, resulting in the GAT increase in the motility of the GAT, mostly causes diarrhea. So the chances of because the erythromycin don't have a specific receptors in the GIT, so lower incidence of GIT intolerance. Lower doses with less intervals twice daily. Like for example, we gave the erythromycin mostly 3 times a day or 4 times a day. So the dose of the erythromycin is lower and also with less intervals. Higher blood concentration. They have higher blood concentration as compared to the erythromycin. It is a bit better penetration in most tissues. Concentration equal exceeding the serum. Mostly it exceeding the serum concentration. So most active against the Mycoplasma, Legionella, Chlamydia, Helicobacter, and Mycobacterium avian complex. They have more activity. Like for example, the activity of erythromycin is increased. Specifically, they have specific use like Mycobacterium, Helicobacters, and Chlamydia, Mycoplasma, Legionella. They have higher or better activity than erythromycin. Also active against the H. influenza and Mycobacterium leprae, leprosis. The second, in today lecture, the second antibiotic, which is the azithromycin, is also the macrolide member drug. Okay, erythromycin, azithromycin is a semi-synthetic macrolide with a 15-member lactone ring. It is derived from erythromycin. It is derived from erythromycin. Like for example, erythromycin is also derived from the erythromycin by adding simple methyl group at R2 position. So it was also derived by adding a methylated nitrogen to the 15-membered lactone ring. For example, this is erythromycin. So here is the methylated nitrogen addition in the azithromycin. Like in this position, this oxygen is replaced with the methylated nitrogen. So this is basically azithromycin is also the derived from the erythromycin by simple addition of the methylated nitrogen to the 15-member rectal ring. Okay, the spectrum of the azithromycin is a similar spectrum to the erythromycin and erythromycin with more activity against the H influenza and Campylobacter. The spectrum of the azithromycin is similar to the, but it have higher activity, show better activity against H influenza and Campylobacter species. Very reactive against the chlamydia and mycoplasma pneumonia and Neisseria gonorrhea. They are high active against as compared to the erythromycin and erythromycin. So slightly less active against the staphylococcal and streptococcal. They have less active against these. Enhanced activity against the Mycobacterium avium intracellularly and some protozoan, for example, Toxoplasmosis gonorrhoeae and Cristosporidium and Plasmodium. They have also some anti-protozoan action. Um, Pharmacokinetic properties of the azithromycin absorption. Azithromycin administer administration orally is well absorbed. Oral administration orally well absorbed. Okay. Distributed widely throughout the body except the CSF. It has a higher distribution except the CSF. Should be administered 1 hour before or after 12 because it has a food interaction. Administration with the food and antacids, especially the ammonium magnesium hydroxide, interfering with absorption. For example, in case of the erythromycin do not have any interaction with the food. So that's why azithromycin should be administered uh, 1 hour before and 2 hours after the meal. Administration with the food and antacids, especially the aluminum and magnesium salts, will interfere with absorption. So has the longest T half and volume of distribution. So dose is like 250 to 500 milligram once daily. Like in case of it's also have the lower interval dose interval. Like for example, in the erythromycin, we mostly give the dose in 3 to 4 times, and in erythromycin, the dose interval is 2 times a day. In especially in the azithromycin, the dose interval is once daily because it's longest T half. Okay, distribution. Unique kinetic properties include extensive tissue distribution, high tissue and intracellular penetration resulting in much higher concentration in tissue secretion and phagocytic cells. Tissue fibroblasts act as a natural reservoir of the drug, and transfer of the drug to the phagocytes is easily achieved. It is slowly released from the tissue reservoir with the tissue half-life is 2 to 4 days, and elimination half-life is 3 days. Like we discussed in the start, like it has the longest T half. So elimination half-life is 3 days and tissue half-life is 2 to 4 days. Plasma protein binding is low. Elimination undergoes some hepatic metabolism to inactive metabolites. Biliary excretion is the major route of elimination. Only 12% of the drug is excreted unchanged in the urine. Only 10%, 12% of the drug is excreted unchanged in the urine. Does not inhibit cytochrome P450 system in, like for example, erythromycin inhibits the cytochrome P450 system, free of drug interactions as compared if we compare with erythromycin and azithromycin do not have any drug interactions. Therapeutic uses of azithromycin. Chlamydial infection line. Azithromycin is specifically recommended as an alternative to doxycycline in the patient with uncomplicated urethritis, a rectal or epidermal infections caused by the chlamydia. So, pneumonia caused by chlamydial pneumonia, community acquired pneumonia. So, mycobacterial infection, like for example, azithromycin, erythromycin, both azithromycin and erythromycin have show better activity against the mycobacterium infections. And that's why they are the first line therapy against the prophylaxis in the treatment of disseminated infection caused by the Mycobacterium avium intracellular in the AIDS patient and treatment of the pulmonary disease in the non-HIV infected patient. Okay. Advantages of the azithromycin or erythromycin and erythromycin. It have a longer half-life, 3 days, slow release from the tissues. It has the longer half-life, 3 days, slowly release from the tissues. Less frequent doses, once daily. Like for example, in case of the erythromycin, the dose interval is twice a day, and in case of the erythromycin, we give the dose interval is the frequency of the dosing is 3 times a day. In case of the azithromycin, because of its long T half elimination half life, it's mostly prescribed once daily. Better penetration in more tissues, including the phagocytic cells. Then more, they have the better penetration in most tissues, uh, including phagocytic cells than the erythromycin and erythromycin. So the tissue concentration is 10 to 100 times than the serum, more active against the chlamydia, mycobacterium avium complex, and H influenza. They have a higher, better active show activity against the chlamydial infection, mycobacterium avium, and H influenza than both erythromycin and erythromycin. It is also active against the Toxoplasmosum gonadie. It have some anti-protozoan properties, like they have the activity against Toxoplasmosum gonadie and Plasmodium. Lower incidence of GAT intolerance. I guess erythromycin also have a lower incidence of the GAT intolerance is most commonly in the erythromycin. Free of drug interactions. They don't have any inhibition of cytochrome P450. Disadvantages: lower serum level after administration. They have a lower serum level after oral administration. They also have a less active against staphylococcal and streptococcal as compared to the erythromycin show better activity against the staphylococcal and streptococci. And the last one is it is expensive. It is more expensive than the erythromycin and the erythromycin. Thank you so much.